All right. Good afternoon, I should say good evening to those of you on the East Coast. Good evening also to those of you on the West Coast. I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Thanks so much for joining us wherever you are watching from. And in this episode, as you saw, in the title there, I do have a special guest, a musical guest. So give me one moment while I introduce them. I'll, without further ado, I want to be able to introduce Nashville artist Chuck Thomas. Let me bring him on. One moment. All right, Chuck, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. First and foremost, with everything that is going on in the world and all that jazz, so to speak, how are you doing? First and foremost.
Well, every day's a struggle, my friend. It's
Indeed.
and it's the one thing in this country that we struggle from east to west and north to south, and we're all in this together. So it's really important at this point in all of our lives, no matter what our ages are, is to reach out to your loved ones and your friends, and you know, and if anything, it's a great time for us always to catch up, make sure that everybody's okay, feeling okay, and emotionally doing well.
Definitely, definitely. And just with that being said, congratulations, with your album. Before I, hop into the nitty-gritty of it, so to speak, understand in terms of your background, former military, and I feel like a lot of that plays into the music that you produce. So can you talk a little bit about that of using this new chapter as an artist, kind of as that outlet for what your prior experience and having that background in the military.
Yeah, I mean, being in the military, unfortunately, it wasn't in as long as I wanted to be. I was discharged as a medical discharge with an eye situation. But you really, I mean, if we could take everybody and at least put them in the military for a short period of time and see what it takes and what they offer and what they sacrifice for our country and for our lives, I think that would be a big part of. I think that we would appreciate each other a little bit more than what we may do at this point. I mean, for myself, as like everybody that's out there listening, I want to say hi. How are you? Um, that we all have different chapters in our life, and those chapters, just like in a book, change all the time. So it's super important to acknowledge the chapter that you were in, and then still realize that your next chapter um, can be better if you make it that way. It's
For
really,
sure.
when it really comes down to it, Brandon, it's really it's us as individuals, and we have to know that. And it's so strange, the fact that, well, not strange, but you know whatever we do in life and whatever we experience in life, it really does bring us to who we are, to the present day. And when people acknowledge that and realize that it really does go a long way.
For sure, for sure. And, I feel like that's a great segue into your album, which folks can see here in the background of Hillbilly Friday Night. So can you talk a bit about, the inspiration of that, latest album? And congratulations by the way, about releasing it.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, this is the follow-up album to my Cigarettes and Whiskey album, which I was fortunate enough to win the Nashville Independent Music Awards Album of the Year in 2019. And so obviously the train keeps rolling. When you have an album that did so well, You walk in the studio and you're like, you pat each other on the back. You're like, wow, this is great, but this has to be better. So we challenged each other. We had phenomenal, phenomenal players on this album. Um, Unfortunately, to most out there, but to me, the pandemic actually helped the album because some of the players that I have on the album normally would have been traveling and or on tour. So we did it a lot of it remotely, by sending, tracks and stuff to their homes. And I had some of the best artists and touring artists in the country that's on this album. So yeah, so the album is called Hillbilly Friday Night, which I came up with a friend of mine that I'd written a song called High Life on the first album. And he's a character, and he feeds me ideas, and I sit back and then I just arrange everything into that. So we did make that the title track song, but the the album has 7 songs on it. Some are upbeat, some are fun, some are sing-along songs, and then like a song that's on there called Heard It All is a more emotional song, kind of makes you sit back and think a little bit.
Sure, sure. And I understand recently, you hadn't had a live relaunch and performance of the album. Can you talk a little bit to that too? Because it's always great to be able to get your album out there, but I feel like it's always a great litmus test, so to speak, when you're performing it live in front of fans. So can you speak to that and how that was recently?
Yeah, we had just this past Saturday we had our album release party at Cabana Taps in
Right.
Nashville, Tennessee here, and the the crowd participation, the online Facebook Live participation, it was phenomenal. Um, you know, me being an ex athlete, you kind of get that energy and stuff from the crowd that's around
For
you.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So as they were coming in, and you start the first song, and I started the show off acoustically with just myself singing a cover song, which I don't do covers, but I did a cover song called Chevy Van, and it was just me. And then right at the end of that, we went boom right into the band, and it just kind of blew up the room. And you saw people that were sitting down all of a sudden stand up and start clapping, and they really got into the whole show. So that's my excitement. You know, they're there to see me, but I'm actually there to entertain them more than anything. And hopefully they feel that I did that. So it was a good event.
Absolutely. And obviously, as I said, the album has just released as of Monday, as I understand. So, in having it out now, I know especially in the music industry is I feel like, and unfortunately it's this way, but it is very much this way. Ironically, you were talking about sports of what have you done for me lately, or what's up next. So yes, you have this album, but are you already thinking of some things as a next project, or collaborating with other artists, just as you said, with the talented folks that you had that joined you on this particular album?
Yeah, I and thank you for asking that. A few months ago, I actually hired a company called Media Mark Spotlight, who is my marketing company, and they've been just doing a phenomenal, phenomenal job for me. And so we tend to, as humans, kind of sit back a little bit and kind of watch the party go by, per se, whenever you have something new come out. And thankfully, um, the CEO and president, Gina Ferraro, and her team, they don't allow that. So it's funny that you had asked that, because they ask that all the time as well, and they encourage me to make sure that I'm going to be doing something else. So besides promoting this album and doing more shows and more interviews, and really vamping up who I am as a person and who I am as a songwriter and artist,
Sure.
We will be doing. We're planning on doing actually 3 EPs every 4 months for 2022.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. All right, cool. So with that, being said, as I said, album came out on Monday. It's available on ChuckThomasMusic.com, but it is available, I understand, on other, platforms as well.
Uh-huh.
Um, with all of that being said, Chuck, I just wanted to thank you, so much. Thank you for, squeezing out some time to talk about, your album. And before I let you go, can you tell folks where they can find you?
Yes, please. You can find me on ChuckThomasMusic.com. You can find me on Facebook under Chuck Thomas Music. Please, if you go on Facebook, if you go on LinkedIn, if you're on any of your social medias, please follow, please like, please share. I'll make sure that I do that back to you also. I mean, we live in a world of social media,
There you
so
go.
I'll make
There you
sure
go.
that we can communicate together. We, Brandon, you're in LA, correct?
Yes, currently, yes.
Okay, so you're
As
in
of this
LA.
moment, yes.
I'm sitting in Nashville, Tennessee, and we would not be doing this 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
right.
so everything's always evolving and everything's changing. And so, the people that are listening to the album, the people that are liking everything and sharing everything, don't don't think that you're doing that for a non-cause, because I will reach out to you. I will thank you. Um, it's just like life. The music business is a journey. Okay, so I'm on the journey. So I'm just asking for people to jump on with me, and let's just have a great ride together.
All right, cool. Sounds good, man. So, again, for those of you watching out there, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I want to thank Chuck for coming on and talking about his album "Hillbilly Friday Night." I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. Thanks again so much for watching. Be safe out there, guys, and I will see you soon. Bye.